My name is Jenny Robb, and I'm the head curator of cartoon and comic art here at the Billy Ireland Cartoon Library and Museum. I want to welcome everybody for our last session today at the Billy. We have more things happening this evening. There's an event over at the Wexler Center that you definitely want to check out. But this is a really good one to end on, and we're going to maybe even be moving around a little bit. So this is going to be...
Not even maybe.
Okay, we're going to be moving around a little bit. This is going to be a lot of fun. So first I want to say, thank you to CXC for organizing this. I want to thank all of the sponsors and the council or the partners that make this possible, particularly the Greater Columbus Arts Council, the Ohio Arts Council, White Castle, and UBS. So let's give them a round of applause. We can't do it without our fabulous, fabulous sponsors. And of course, as you all know, these are all free events, and so we really do depend on our generous sponsors to make that possible. All right, so it's my great pleasure to introduce Kriota Willberg. Did I say that right?
You did.
Okay, fantastic. She uses her experiences as a cartoonist, illustrator, massage therapist, and health science educator to promote healthy, pain-free creativity. As a massage therapist, she focuses on the treatment of orthopedic injuries and has worked with populations ranging from the New York Giants football team to patients at Memorial Sloan Kettering Cancer Center. As an artist and educator, she teaches cartoonists about injury prevention through panels, interviews, workshops, and her injury prevention book, Draw Stronger, published by Uncivilized Books. Check out her self-care column for the Comics Beat called Get a Grip. And on occasion, she works with Adobe to explore beneficial work and creative practices. Currently, she is the artist in residence in the Master Scholars Program in Humanistic Medicine at NYU Grossman School of Medicine. So join me in welcoming Kriota.
Thanks, everybody. This is a really interesting title for this workshop. I just looked up in the schedule and there it was. You can take the pain if you'd like, or maybe take it away. But essentially what everything boils down to is that, your most important drawing and writing instrument is your body. And, when you're using it over, hours a day and then days a week and then weeks and months and years and decades, you really need to take care of your body in order to help yourself maintain your prolonged career. So hopefully this will be a part of that process for you. So first, I'm going to do a quick intro. As you heard, I'm a massage therapist. I spent many, many years specializing in orthopedic injuries for a number of different types of patients. I also have a certification in exercise and fitness prescription, but I am not a doctor. No. So this workshop is not giving you specific medical advice, and I can't diagnose your, complaints. I can tell you what the odds, I can predict it like a weather person, but I can't tell you what it is. And as a licensed professional, I can tell you to go see a doctor. But that's about it. So in the introduction, again, I wrote a book called Get a Grip. The articles for, I have a series of self-care articles in the comicsbeat.com called Get a Grip. They branch off of ideas that are in my book, Draw Stronger. And these workshops keep kind of growing on themselves every year because I get interested in some other things as we go along. And so, not in the book, but what we're going to talk about first is eye strain, because that is also part of injury issues. So, eye strain associated with computers, guess what it's called? Digital eye strain. It's amazing how that works, right? But whether your eye strain is from, computer screens or just, looking at a page like a non-glowing object, the symptoms and signs are still the same. neck pain and tension, headache, light sensitivity, blurred vision, back pain, dry eyes, and more. And so also one of the things about eye strain is that there's a real affiliation between eye strain and posture. And so we're going to be investigating that later. I can't help myself. So computer use strains eyes more than reading print material because, and we'll go through this list, and essentially the key to preventing eye strain is by not doing what is on this list. So I know this sounds a little silly. It says blink less while using computers. That's what people tend to do. We tend to blink less and our eyes dry out more. So if you're really good at reminding yourself to blink, that's great. But also people will use eye drops to help keep their eyes moist, and that's another option. Viewing digital screens at less than ideal distances or angles is also a real thing. Laptops are all really problematic when you put the computer in your lap and then you're hunched over it, or a tablet in your lap. And again, we'll look at this later a little bit with some ergonomic setups and how to position things. Use devices that have glare or reflection. So in this illustration I made, you can see how this desk lamp is angled right onto this person's screen, and then the reflection is hitting them in the eye. And I work often at a writer's room, and you'd be amazed how many times I actually see this happening, where people, my co-writers at their desks will literally have their lamp shining directly onto their laptop screen. So it's a very easy mistake to make. It's something that you just need to pay attention to as you go. And again, devices with poor contrast between the text and the background can also be an issue. Oh, the D has been cut off. Anyway, it's not background, it's background. And devices now have a number of different lighting things that you can do in your preferences, box to window to change it and accommodate so that you can make reading more comfortable for you. So that's another trick you can do to help yourself prevent eye strain. And so usually when I get to the end of these talks, someone always inevitably asks me this question: what do you think about the blue light reducing glasses? And I will tell you right now, with the research that's been done so far, there is no definitive evidence one way or another whether these things work or not. So indeed, you can try it and it may work for you wearing the glasses that block blue light, or it may not. It just depends on you, right? So when people ask me if they should try this kind of thing, my answer is try the cheapest version available. Do not spend money. Do not spend a ton of money on a fancy set of glasses or something that does not statistically support the idea that it's absolutely or up to 90% possibly going to work for you. So if you want to do it, try the cheap version first. If the cheap version works, but you don't like the cheap version, you can go ahead and spend more money on something that works, and that'll make it better. Does that make sense to everybody? Blue light, right, we also get from the sun. The amount of blue light we are exposed to outdoors is much, much more extreme than the amount of blue light we are exposed to on screens. And so that's also part of the issue there. You could wear blue light reducing glasses outdoors, and it would probably have a much different effect than using them to look at your computer screens or tablets. So whatever you want to do with that, that's fine. Just pick the cheapest option. That's what I'm going to say there. So a general rule of thumb is taking breaks. I'm going to be wagging my finger at everybody and telling them to take breaks a lot. People pay me a lot of money to tell them to take breaks, I'll have you know. But there's a rule called the 20-20 rule, 20-20-20 rule. Every 20 minutes, look 20 feet away from your screen at a distant object for 20 seconds. And the reason you have to look over, does it have to be exactly 20 feet? No, but 20 feet is essentially the golden distance, because when you are looking at things up close, the extrinsic muscles, the muscles that move your eyeballs, they actually make your eyes go slightly cross-eyed in order to read or to do close work. When you are looking 20 feet away or more, then your eyes are parallel. So if you're at the back of the room, you know, look at the wall. If you're in the front of the room, try to look somewhere up in the distance and go ahead and hold your finger up, but don't look at it, just look through it to a distant object. And when you do that, you'll see two fingers, right? Now, if you change your focus onto your finger and then start pulling your finger closer, and you'll feel the muscles around your eyes start to move your eyes probably. Then take your finger back out, and then don't look at your finger, look through it at the wall beyond, okay? Does that make sense to everybody? So resting your eyes by looking, I just look out the window if I'm working in a room with a window, you know, or across the room or whatever, for 20 seconds, and it can be very, very helpful, okay? All right, so I'm going to just throw all of this stuff at you, then we're going to get to the end, and then I'll have questions at the end, because I'm just hopefully going to try and get through. I can't help myself, I pack these things up, so anyway. Posture, really important. Efficient, like good posture, essentially, is when your body is working with the least amount of effort possible. So that means it's working the most efficiently and will be the less stressful. So this workshop is for everyone and every body type, right? Although we're talking about good posture and good alignment, the truth is that almost no bodies can achieve perfection, right? Everybody's skeletons are built slightly differently. You know, for example, my shins bend sideways. It's called tibia vera. So there's no way I can ever have straight legs and not be bow-legged, right? It's like my bones, I can't fix it because my bones will not change. And that will affect my knee and ankle and foot posture. So I can still have good alignment in what works, you know, with my legs, what works well most efficiently for me. And that's true for everybody, for every part of your skeleton, right? So when we're talking about good alignment, we're talking about ideal alignment for your body and your body type, and not like a perfection that you can't achieve, okay? So another thing, different activities with the same posture can lead to cumulative strain. And right now, we tend to, like, you know, if you're drawing or working, people tend to hunch over while they're drawing. But also the things we do for recreation and for work are also often pulling us into the same postures. And so sometimes one of our activities is not the only causal factor of like what our injuries are. So for example, this person might spend like, you know, 4 hours drawing, and then they'll take breaks on the couch, like texting and, you know, sending messages to their friends. And then in the same slouched over position, they'll like get on their laptop and they'll start to do some writing. And then at the end of the day, they'll wind down with their stamp collection, you know, but they're still in that same rounded posture. And what that does is that's going to chronically shorten certain like connective tissues in their body and chronically lengthen others. And that causes postural imbalance and muscular imbalance, and it can lead to injury and some pain. So repetitive stress injuries are usually what people end up coping with when we're looking at drawing-related or work-related injury. Repetitive stress injuries are, guess what, caused by repeated cumulative use and overload to a body part. So, you know, you may be doing something with your hands that is like actually relatively easy, right? You're strong enough to text with your thumbs, it's no big deal. But then as you spend like an hour texting or something, that repetitive movement can start to actually tax your tendons or your connective tissues, depending upon how you're doing it and whether your muscles are actually tough enough for that kind of endurance, right? Because muscles get strong in terms of power, but then they also need to be strong in terms of endurance. Like powerful movements are like short-term, like versus strength, but then endurance movements are like repetitive and, go over long periods of time. And so, athletes kind of train in two different ways. They train for power, they train for endurance. And if you're going to be living, you kind of need to train for endurance. So RSIs can occur anywhere in the body. They can cause mild to severe pain and dysfunction. And even though I've written these books and I've worked with these patients for decades, et cetera, if you're anything like me, you'll ignore mild discomfort and just hope it goes away. And then sometimes it will, and then sometimes it doesn't. It gets worse. And then you have to start paying attention to it. So, when things start to go into mild to moderate pain, that's when you really have to intervene to help correct the situation so that it does not get worse. And you shouldn't ignore it like I do, but I do anyway. So also, we can be talking about any type of media. We could be talking about drawing on a Cintiq. We could be talking about, painting it in easel. We could be talking about, writing in a notebook. We could be talking about anything. And because bodies are assembled the same way over the millennia, the principles of physics apply to our bodies no matter what kind of medium we're working on. And we tend toward the same postures while we're working on them. So the basic principles of injury prevention also apply to all media, which is great. We don't have to be too worried about special instructions. And here's your head. Your head weighs 8 to 13 pounds, which is essentially the equivalent of a bowling ball. So when we'll be talking about posture more. If you think about holding, say, even just an 8-pound bowling ball in your hand, if you hold it upright in your wrist and you balance it perfectly, you can imagine your wrist is your neck muscles and everything's okay. But then if you start to let that ball move slightly off the center line of gravity, as you were writing notes in this workshop, right? Then that's going to start to strain the muscles on the back of the neck. They're going to start to lengthen out and also have to work to hold your bowling ball upright, right? So that can be somewhat problematic. So a lot of postural corrections and a lot of corrections are essentially organized around trying to keep your head up. Good luck to all of us with that. So intense focus on a low unsupported device or a smaller screen or surface is hard on the eyes and also tends to bring us into poor posture. I think I saw, yep, look at that. So this anonymous person is drawing Wolverine. When we put our drawing or writing on a flat surface, it's essentially going to distort it, right? It's going to do that keystone. It's going to keystone it to our eyes. Does that make sense? So what happens is we tend to lean over the work, and that's going to make your head feel like it weighs 15 pounds instead within 2 hours. And it also can put a lot of stress on the neck. We can see the flexion in this neck, and I bet at the end of this sketch, this person had either a decent tension headache or just a lot of neck and back pain. This is me drawing on the floor. I'm doing a little bit of something good. I'm using a purse to help hold up my iPad. So I'm a little bit better than putting it in my lap, but my posture is still sucky. So I thought I would just show you that because sometimes that happens. Here are some students I had a while ago. If you look also, again, desks for our students are fixed and they're small and awkward. And this person is left-hand dominant while these two people are right-hand dominant, and they are still at a right-handed desk. So if they're spending hours in that desk, they may be contorting their body to help accommodate their writing or drawing, and that can be an issue as well. So again, we also just need to pay attention to environment sometimes as we're sitting and drawing. So what's good posture? Well, I'll tell you. If you imagine a plumb line dropping from the ceiling and someone's standing, right, that plumb line ideally would go through the ear, through the shoulder, through the vertebrae of your back, which would be, unless you have a trained eye, you're not going to be able to see that very well, but then through the hip, down through the knee and then through the ankle. And then when you're sitting, and your spinal curves should still be there. A flattened spine is actually problematic. Flat spines are not good posture. But our spinal curves, even though they're intact, they will make us appear to be straight, right? So they might appear diminished, but they're still there. But again, while we're sitting, we still should have the ear, shoulder, hip thing going on, okay? And also while we're sitting, hips should be bent to 90 degrees, knees also at 90 degrees, and both feet should be flat on the floor. Oh, wait, I'm going to go back to this for a second. So in order to prove the flat foot thing, everybody just sit up on the edge of your chair, put both feet on the floor, and sit with good posture, okay? And feel what that feels like. Feel, you know, what your pelvis and your spine and your neck, hopefully your head feels a little lighter. Now, I want you to cross one leg over your knee and feel what that does to your pelvis. It starts to curl it under. Can you feel that? Yeah. Okay, so now uncross it, and you'll feel your pelvis start to organize itself again, right? If you cross your ankles or stick your legs out a little bit, the same thing will start to happen. Your pelvis will start to curl a little bit. Also, I can speak from experience, drawing with a pet in your lap is also going to like ruin your pelvic placement. Which, it's science. No, it's not. It's anecdotal evidence, but still. Yeah. So again, that's the argument for having your feet on the floor. And if you can bring your media in line with and closer to your eyes, right, that will help to improve your posture. And even if you can't, a slanted surface, right, will also help to improve your posture, because then whatever you're looking at will not be distorted and you won't be tempted to lean over, right? So while I was hanging out reviewing my talk over in the corner, I was sitting across from this person who had their laptop, and they were lounging in the chair, but they had the laptop like propped up on their arm, so the screen was like right in line with their face, and I was like, oh my God, that's brilliant. Like, they were very relaxed. They just had the thing organized on their arm, and it just brought it up so they didn't have to strain or, you know, do anything uncomfortable. And I was very jealous that I had never thought of that. It was very good. So these are both examples with some Cintiqs of like good workstation ergonomics, right? I like this one in particular also because you can draw here, and then also if you need additional visual reference, or if you want to read an email or get direction or something, you can look up, and in theory, that's not going to take you down to your phone. That's going to like take you up a little bit further. So it's going to also, again, help you to straighten up a little bit more. And sometimes, even if you have good posture, consistently loading a single joint can cause severe damage over time. So some painters I know who work on a very large scale, also a letterer I know who like work, oops, I didn't mean to do that. Okay, sorry. I kept flipping it upside down. It's like, it screwed me up. Anyway, so sometimes even if you have good posture, you're writing or drawing surfaces at a good angle, just literally the weight of your arm, holding the weight of your arm and using it for long periods of time, especially say if you're painting or you're doing consistently just large movements, that can have a real effect on the rotator cuff, right? So ultimately, sometimes what will happen is if someone is having shoulder issues, now I can forward this one. Did that work? Come on. There we go. If they're having shoulder issues and they've been doing everything they're supposed to be doing, working with a screen up at eye level and then drawing on a tablet where the arm can like hang by the side, the elbows flexed to 90 degrees, this is like the ultimate solution. I know some artists who don't like this because They don't draw as well on a tablet as they do on the Cintiq. My spouse draws really well on a tablet. He's sitting right there. And I draw horribly on a tablet. But if I had this injury, I would literally have to take the time to train myself to do it. Sometimes in order to deal with your injuries, you're going to have to train yourself to physically be able to do something in a different way. And there are even books out there by artists who like have had injuries and then like retaught themselves to draw with their other hands. You know, they're like, sometimes there are real obstacles to overcome, but sometimes it just has to be addressed. Okay. And you got to take breaks, no matter what. So, again, typing in desktop screen height follows the same principles. So ideally, your hands are at waist level and the screen is at eye height. And as usual with laptops, it's more problematic, but in this case, at least the laptop can be angled so that it will help to reduce some distortion, right? If this computer screen was at the wrong height, then, you know, this person could experiment with like elevating it or, you know, elevating their chair. Also for this person, because their legs aren't getting down to the ground when they're trying to accommodate their desk height, you can use a block or a prop to prop up your feet, and that again will help to contribute to good posture. Oh, see, it works. Okay. And you can experiment with your workstation in a variety of different ways. Some people prefer a angled desk. There are a number of different like portable work desks that you can get. The next slide shows another picture of an artist working on the same thing. Again, my spouse, Bob, he has a desk that will elevate and lower. I draw on my desk when it's low, and then when I want to write, I just put my laptop on a milk crate and I stand. So I just mix it up, but I prefer to sit when I'm drawing. I just feel more comfortable that way. But, you know, Bob will also like raise and lower the desk. There's no one perfect solution. Like the standing desk will not save you and a sitting desk will not save you. You know, it's like when you're standing, you're more likely to get like foot pain, knee pain, low back pain, right? When you're sitting, then if you have circulatory problems, that can be problematic. You know, it's like, it just goes both ways. So posture might improve with the standing desk, but again, only if you keep the screen up and not put it down like this, right? So those still principles are organized. So yeah, here's Daniel McCloskey. He is using his tablet on a portable and adaptable table easel. Here he had an injury, so he's also working with his injury taped, right? And the brace is essentially reducing his range of motion. So he's going to be seriously limited in how he can work, but the reduction in range of motion is going to reduce strain until he can heal. And then he gets back to things with, and he is now, this happened a while ago. And he's working fine now. But physical therapy, corrective exercise can often be like a key to getting back. So here I am. Okay, my posture is a little better here, but not by much. But if you're away from your desk, then like, this is my favorite purse because you can just stuff it with stuff and then put your iPad on top of it and it elevates it like a good foot, and I can angle it and the stupid iPad will actually stay in place. So, you know, if you can experiment with the stuff you bring with you, you know, or the furniture you're with. I draw in a cadaver lab as an artist in residence at NYU, and I will sit on one of the rolling stools they have, but I sit on it in reverse so that I can put my sketchbook on the back of the seat. So it's almost like having an easel while I'm drawing from a body, right? Instead of having to like hold it and draw, which would just be really, really difficult. So again, a purse, a rolled up sweater, I can't talk today, other props. You're trying to lift and angle the surface. I'm talking about iPads here, but it could also be sketchbooks. I actually ended up writing Draw Stronger because when Bob and I were at the Center for Cartoon Studies, a majority of students would put their sketchbooks in their lap and then just go like this. It's like, no! You know, I could just see what was going to happen to them in 5 years. So, you know, if you just have a jacket or something you can roll up and like put on your lap underneath your sketchbook, that's even going to help. You may not be able to make it perfect, but you'll still be able to make it better, right? You can purchase a prop or a grip assist, and the thing is, if you do get a prop or a grip assist, you have to use it correctly. Sometimes I see people using them in weird ways, like they'll get the loop, you know, that goes on the back of the thing, and they'll put their arm through it, and then they'll distort their wrist horribly and hold it, and the loop just keeps. I'm not sure what it's there for, you know, but it could act as a good prop for them, you know, or they could use it in a different way. All right, so we'll talk a little bit about hand, wrist, and arm mechanics. Number one, keep your grip relaxed, right? If you are holding onto a pencil or a stylus and you have that little hyperextension going on, that's a sign of too much tension. Or if your fingertips are blanching where you're gripping the stylus, usually they blanch and then they are like they have a darker pigment like after that, and then they look normal. That kind of patterning also indicates too much tension in your grip. Okay. Some people just want to draw like this. That's fine. You know, they want to put the stylus between. I don't care how you hold it. Just don't squeeze it so hard that you would choke the life out of it if it was a kitten or something, right? You want to just like hold the stylus gently. So also, if you're one of those people where you anchor your hand on the page and then pull the pencil toward you to make marks or to write, that can also be problematic and add to tendon tension and injury. I have sat around a table where people have compared their callus size, and people with the biggest calluses are boasting that they're the best artists because they work the hardest, and guess what? That's just not true. So it just means they're the people who grip their pencil the hardest, right? But, you know, I draw 7 hours a day, 5 days a week, and I don't have that big a callus. I'm old and arthritic from being a massage therapist, but I don't have a callus on my finger from my stylus, right? Because I try to keep my grip relaxed. So I have other issues, but I can't boast about working harder than anyone because I have calluses. But, you know, again, the no pain, no gain mythology is like really dangerous for our bodies. So we need to be careful about that. Also, specialized stylus grips or a fatter stylus can help with control and hand tension. Some people will just like wrap foam around a pencil or a stylus with some duct tape, and that works great for them. And then other people will buy specific grips, and then some styluses are made specifically fatter to help. So there are all sorts of grip choices out there, and you can experiment with them and see what works for you. Okay. So if you can make a variety of movements with your hands as you're drawing, that's better. Let's say you're doing hatching and you're working digitally. If you're hatching really small for a long period of time and just moving your fingers essentially, that's going to create a lot of tension in the intrinsic muscles of the hands. But if you could actually, if you're working in Photoshop and you can just expand the image so that then you can start like making longer lines with your wrist for a while, that will actually help to disperse the stress into other structures and lighten the load on your hand, right? If you're not working digitally, then, just consider maybe working on something else for a while. If you've been hatching for an hour, you need a break. Also, again, medium-sized lines coming from a shoulder or longer lines, depending upon what you're working for on the medium you're working in. The more you can like use your body in different ways to make your lines or make your work, it's going to be less stressful to your body, and it can help to reduce pain and tension. So keyboards. When you're looking at your wrist from the side, actually, everybody hold their arm out with your wrist straight and wiggle your fingers. Or you can wiggle them or just make a fist and spread your... So as you do that, you'll see the arm muscles on the back and the tendons shortening and lengthening, and also the ones on the palmar surface shortening and lengthening. Now, if your arm is in a straight line and you're typing, this is going to be the least stressful position. But now, bend your wrist quite a bit and start to wiggle your fingers, and you'll probably feel more tension, like in the wrist and maybe by the elbow here. Now, hyperextend your wrist. Pull your wrist back and start to wiggle your fingers, and you'll feel more tension on the back of the wrist. Sometimes people will get elbow pain, one side or the other, right, depending upon the position they're working their wrist in. And sometimes they do this with drawing too, but it's a little trickier. Drawing with a lot of flexion or drawing with essentially what's called extension in the wrist. This can also be problematic, okay? So straight lines are the general rules. You can move through that, but holding yourself in one rigid position that's not straight is problematic. Also, sideways, when you're typing sideways wrist bending, that can also be stressful. So just look at your, if you're feeling something while you're typing, look at your arms while you're typing it. Or if look at your hands while you're drawing and see if you can see an anomaly. Okay, breaks. Breaks are very, very important. So 5-minute break every hour is a general rule. You can experiment with yourself and see what you want to do. I was going through a period where I was getting 3 to 4 migraines a week. So I had to take breaks every 25 minutes or I couldn't work at all. And it took some experimenting to get, now I can take a break every hour and it's fine. For some people, you can take a break every hour and a half, but still consistent breaks are really important. Even if you feel like you don't need one in the moment, when you double or triple that time, you may wish you had taken the break earlier. Does that make sense to everybody? And when you take a break, stop what you're doing. Do not text anybody. Do not look at a screen. Get up away from the desk. You can do some stretches or do something else. Look out the window, whatever. But just stop mimicking. Do not mimic what you've been up to. Breathing is good too. So, yep, no computers or tablets. You can do some exercises, stretching, self-massage, breathing, meditation, whatever you like to do. So don't forget, micro pauses to breathe, look away from your screen for a few seconds to relax your eyes, breaks for your body, organize your workspace for comfort, maintain postural awareness. And what we're going to do, we're not going to do questions. We're going to do a little self-massage sequence that also includes some stretching and exercises. And then we'll see how much time we have. Self-massage is great. It's easy. It's not quite like getting a professional massage, but it'll still help you get through some, major aches and pains and relaxation issues. So, and it's cheap. All right, so yeah, put your stuff away so you can everybody, hopefully you can see me well enough. And so what we're going to do first is we're going to start with abdominal breathing. So what I want you to do actually is just to rub your hands together. I'm under the air conditioning vent, so I need to warm my hands before I touch my arms. But rub your hands together a little bit, shake them out, and then find your navel and then put your hands right below your belly button. So you can close your eyes. I would suggest that. And what I want you to do is If you can inhale through your nose, that's ideal. If you need your mouth, that's fine. Either way, take a deep breath in and imagine that you are sending air down into your hands, which is anatomically impossible, but you can start to feel some pressure as you inhale and your abdomen can move outwards. And then as you exhale, you can let your abdomen scoot back towards your spine again under your hands. So take a deep breath in and breathe out. Good. Breathe in. And breathe out. Let your shoulders relax. One more breath in. And out. Good. Gently open your eyes. We're going to start on the neck. So what you're going to do is take your hand along the back of your neck, wrap it around both sides, and start to squeeze. So like you're scruffing yourself as a cat. And you want to just take big handfuls of neck muscle and gently squeeze. Good. And now we're going to take your arm and go to the opposite shoulder, and you can pick up that trapezius muscle there. You can even put your thumb on one side. If you ever have a desk or a table to work on, if you prop your elbow up or on the arm of your chair, that'll soften the muscle and you can get a better handful. Yeah, if it's too painful, use less pressure. Okay. Now, go down the arm and squeeze the deltoid muscle. And now we're going to ring. So you're going to grab your arm and you're going to twist. So imagine your own 10-year-old brother, right? And then grab and twist in the opposite direction. And this actually helps to stretch out muscle and promote circulation. So work all the way down your arm. You're just wrapping the muscle around the bone. As you go into the forearm, your forearm might also, because your forearm can twist, the joints can twist, you can also twist your arm as you go. And this will just essentially help to relax out the major muscles. Good. When you get down to the palm, you can take your thumb and start to press into the center of your hand. Or if that's not deep enough, you can actually take your elbow and roll it around, and that will get in there a little more deeply. Okay, good. Now, squeeze the muscles at the base of that thumb, and then start to gently twist and squeeze your thumb, and then go to each finger and gently twist and squeeze. Again, if it's painful, then you're working too hard. And now we're going to go to the other side. So with the other hand, you can squeeze the muscles of the shoulder. If you have a arm prop, again, you can prop your arm up and that will help to soften those muscles and you can make a bigger. For some people, squeezing this muscle, you might feel like head pain, right? Because this muscle, the trapezius, can cause tension headaches, actually. So if you're getting head pain, squeeze more gently, but it can help to relieve tension headaches sometimes by working on it. And now go down to the deltoid muscle, give it a good squeeze. And now you're going to twist the muscles of the upper arm. So you're literally just grabbing them and wrapping them around the upper arm bone, the humerus, and then go down past the elbow. And this will help to stretch the muscles out, warm them up, promote some blood flow. Good. Come down to your palm. Work your palm with your thumb or with your elbow, if you'd prefer. Good. And then squeeze the muscle at the base of the thumb, and then twist and squeeze the thumb and the fingers. I just cracked my knuckle. There is no clinical evidence that supports knuckle cracking causing arthritis. I will tell you now. I think I just answered 5 questions. Okay, now we're going to do a neck stretch. So lift your left butt, put your left hand under it and sit on it, or hold on to the side of your chair, either way. And then lean your neck, your head away from your hand, and that will stretch out the side of your neck. Take a deep breath in and out. Good. And now look down at the floor, and as you stay leaning over, and you'll feel the shift in the stretch. Take a breath in and out. Good. And roll your head forward. And then come up. And let's go to the other side. Free your left hand. And then sit on your right hand or hold on to the edge of your chair. Lean away. Again, usually we're more flexible on one side than the other. You're usually more flexible on the dominant side. So for me, I'm more flexible on my right. Hope you're breathing. Taking a deep breath in and out. Good. Now look down at the floor. Rotate your neck. Feel the shift in the stretch. Take another breath in and out. Good. Roll your head forward. And then come up. Alrighty. Hand in front of you, palm out. Pull your fingers back gently. Good. Hold on to your thumb. Pull your thumb back gently. Gently, gently, gently. Drop your fingers down toward the floor. Pull them back towards you gently. This side is usually more intense, so you may have to do it less. Hold on to your thumb. Pull it back gently. Good, do the other side. It's always important to do both sides. People are like, yeah, but I only draw with one hand. It's like, I don't care. Do both sides anyway. Good. Also, taking some deep breaths and just letting yourself relax as you go. Pulling on your thumb gently. Good. Drop your fingers down. Pull on your fingers. Good. And pull on your thumb. Good. Now, shake your hands out. All right, so now you're going to make loose fists with your hands, and I'm going to stand up for just a moment. I'll do this close to the mic. You can pound on your lower back, or you can hold your fingers together like this and make a cupping sound. But either way, go ahead and pound on your back. Pounding is a great way to work. You can sit and do this at the same time. It's a good way to work out the large muscles of the back. Exactly. And then you're breathing as you go. And you can take your hands into fists and also beat around the outsides of your hips. And you can beat on your thighs, or you can cup on your thighs. And you can also go down onto your legs. And then do the other side. You can either pound or cup on your thighs, other leg, go all the way down into your lower leg, and then come back up.
Does cupping bring blood to your circles?
It will just as much as pounding. They both are equally effective. It's just a different style. Different people like it better or not. Okay, so now that we've done the back and the hips, you are going to make sure you're sitting on the edge of your chair. Interdigitate your hands. Take your arms up and overhead. Look at the ceiling. Inhale. And then exhale. Take your hands down. It's a good thing there's a mic on the floor because you want to take your hands down between your legs and drop your head. Inhale, come up. Look at the ceiling. Exhale, go down. Good. Come on up. Just roll up gently. We're going to do a twisting stretch while we're here. Place your right hand on your left knee and your left hand on the chair behind you, and then just gently twist in your seat and look over your left shoulder. I have neck arthritis, so I'm not going to get much mileage from this, but take a deep breath in and out. One more breath in. And as you exhale, come back to the center and then reverse it. Left hand to right knee, right hand on the chair, gently twist. Look over your right shoulder. Deep breath in and breathe out and in. And as you exhale, come back to center. Okay. You know what? We're just going to go to the head tapping and hair pulling. We're going to do hair pulling. Hair pulling is great. If you don't have hair on the top of your head, you can just take your fingers and like really move the skin around. But if you do have hair on the top of your head, you can take your hands and grab fistful of hair and very gently just pull it back and forth. And this or this will help to stretch out some of the muscles, right, that can also contribute to tension headaches. You can also do some circles around your temples, and this can be really useful. Or you can just fluff up your whole head. You can also do tapping. So it's like pounding for your back, but on a smaller surface. All right, and then we'll do the very last thing here. Rub your hands together. If it weren't so air conditioned, what I'd say is you rub your hands together until they feel hot. Sometimes that works for people. And then you take your hands and you cup them over your eyes, and hopefully they'll be warm enough to just help to warm up your eyes. Sometimes when I'm drinking a hot cup of tea or coffee, I'll heat my hands on the glass and then I'll cup my hands and put them over my eyes to help warm and relax the muscles of my eyes. So take 2 deep breaths in, breathing in and out.
Have your eyes open or closed?
Closed. One more breath in and out. And release your hands. Okay. So you got a spa day at CXC. There you go, everybody. I'm sorry I didn't give us time for questions. What I do find often is I pack these things so much that I end up answering half the questions anyway as we go along. But if you want to ask me something afterwards, there's another panel in here, right?
No, this is the last panel here today.
Oh, do we have time for questions then? If people
We
want
probably can have 1 or 2 questions.
Okay,
yes.
so if you want to leave, go ahead and leave. But if you want to ask me a question, ask me a question. Take a break, goddammit. That's the biggest takeaway right there. And then the next one is stop looking at the screen on your break. Sorry, I cussed, but that's because it was the biggest takeaway. That's why I had to say that. All right, who's next? Uh-huh. You know, the thing is that I will like shift myself around from time to time. Like I'll raise my chair a little, lower my chair. The thing is that actually moving around may be more useful. So you're probably doing better. Another thing that might be helpful is if you're sitting still, when you're taking breaks, if you do some stretching or some gentle movement, that will like help you like come back into focus. So yeah, but the movement is probably not that bad. Yeah, sure. Anybody else? Uh-huh. Well, I just got my second hip replacement in December because I was,
Thank God I'm not that bad.
I know, yeah, I was a dancer for 30 years and then I was a massage therapist for 30 years. So if you have arthritis, it's really important to go see a physical therapist because they can give you corrective exercises that, you know, then you'll have something, you'll have exercises that you can use forever for injury prevention. And so, it's like, I am very firmly in the camp of physical therapists. Like, I'll often send my patients to them for extra things. So PTs, and then if the arthritis your cartilage won't grow back. So you may also need to talk to a rheumatologist about pain medication sometimes, or surgery. It depends on what the issue is. But I think everybody should get a hip replacement whether they need it or not, because they'll just feel much better afterwards. So it really depends on the type of arthritis, the amount of arthritis, the amount of pain you're in. But I usually say physical therapy first, plus the breaks. And, but physical therapy has really helped me. I have a lot of neck and back arthritis as well, and it's been really useful. Mm-hmm. Anybody else? They work fine. Okay. Yeah, isometrics work fine. Do you guys know what isometrics are? So those are exercises where you're not moving. Right? Because, my triceps are stronger than my biceps, so this will work. Like, if I try to bend my elbow as hard as I can, right, and my other arm won't let me, that's still strengthening the muscle. It's not strengthening it through a full range, but it is strengthening the muscle. And some people like isometrics, so they prefer these exercises where there's really not a lot of movement. And I just say, you just need to exercise. I don't care what you do. A regular physical practice is also really important. Like and the older you are, I hate to say it, the more exercise, you should be doing. So, yeah. More to a limit, but you know what I mean. I don't dance anymore. I lift weights instead. Anybody else? Any other questions?
One more question. We have one more.
Well, you get a diagnosis because it depends on where it is. Right, well, tennis elbow is here and golfer's elbow is here. Tennis elbow is caused by, remember I was talking about those tendons that pull your arm back? So it's caused by those. But again, what I really suggest is these stretches can be useful for it. But going to a physical therapist and getting those exercises, those corrective exercises are great because, even if you have like crappy insurance or no insurance, if you get the exercises, you'll have that toolkit for the rest of your life. And you can use them repeatedly without having to go back to the PT. So, but corrective exercise is really important. Okay? Alrighty.
Awesome. How does everybody feel?
Thanks, everybody.
So I do want to just thank the AAEC, the sponsors of this event. And if you don't know what the AAEC is, it is the Association of American Editorial Cartoonists. We've got some back here. These are the folks that are drawing the political cartoons, making commentary that make you either laugh or make you mad, one or the other. If you're interested in that organization, see me or see one of the folks from the AAEC. But thank you for sponsoring this. This is fantastic. I feel so much better than I did an hour ago. So thank you, everybody. It's a great first day.
Thanks, everybody.